What's up, weirdos? And welcome back to Universe of Weirdos. It is Jay Craft here with another FAQ for you. It's that time once again. FAQ on this podcast. It's not frequently asked questions. It is feedback and questions, aka fuck you. There are many different ways that you can get involved in one of these FAQ episodes. If you would like to find me on a social media, jcraft247 on X, Universe of Weirdos on Instagram, or my preferred method of communication is send me that email, universeofweirdos@gmail.com. Now, I know I said on the last FAQ that we are a monetized podcast now, which means dynamic ad insertion. That also means subject to weird types of censorship. Now, some of you have told me you've heard some ads. A lot of podcast providers will not play ads on my show because they have a weird censorship type of rule, kind of like YouTube has, where it's like, if you talk about certain subjects, you have to censor yourself in very pointless fucking ways that I refuse to do. As a creative person, I refuse to be hamstrung in certain ways, like talking about sexual assault and wanting to say SA instead, or she was graped. You're right? Huh? She was graped. Because surely if you're a sexual assault victim and you get triggered when people talk about the subject, just them saying grape instead of rape is okay, right? Oh no, it's alright, I'm not triggered. He said SA. No, you're gonna be annoyed about the subject matter regardless, which is why I feel like just marking a podcast as explicit should be good enough. So whatever, that's fine. I don't have to get a whole lot of ad revenue on this podcast. I didn't plan on it anyways. Shit, some of my stuff has got to go to somebody else if it makes ad money anyways, which I'll get into in just a second. But this is FAQ, so I'm reading your feedback. I'm reading your questions, and we're going to have a good time at it. So, I don't know, man. If you want to help the show grow, the ad thing is probably going to be a big old bust as far as actually making the show money. I got some other things in the works, some merchandise stuff that I'm trying to work on, as long as I can find like a print-on-demand type of service. Some other things, whatever. But like, if you just want to help the show in general, liking, sharing, subscribing, rating, and reviewing, it really does help out. Downloading instead of streaming also helps out a lot. My first FAQ comes from the always reliable Dan. Dan sent me a lot. So, and he also sent me a question that I'm actually going to answer that normally I would ignore. Let's see. So, did you get a copyright thing on that sports anthem episode? I guarantee you did. I sure as shit did. I got 4 of them, as a matter of fact. I got the Hulkster in Heaven, which I did expect to get. I got the Be a Man Hulk, which I expected to get. And then another one that I ended up blurring out the audio a little bit so it wouldn't count as more than 3 because you can't get more than 3. But yeah, if that episode makes any money, I gotta give it to Scott Stapp from Creed. What do you want? Whatever. Fucking Marlin Shore. Congratulations, buddy. You get some of my fucking $6 of ad money that I might make on that episode. Let's see. Don't take this the wrong way, but the AI producer doesn't actually suggest good talking points for you. You're just good at turning dumb shit into funny shit. Keep it up, though. Maybe Squeak can get his own spin-off podcast. Yeah, we're working on it. Working on getting Squeak McBeak his own AI podcast. Would anyone listen to a fully AI-produced podcast? Like, if I had AI create the script, had an AI voice read it, and then just, like, AI schedule it. Oh, that would be that would be the worst podcast in existence, an AI podcast. Ew. Let's see. This one, I don't remember what this was in response to, but I do remember mentioning my shitty old job that I had where I worked with a bunch of people that like almost exclusively worked with people that I went to high school with. So he says, bro, you worked with exclusively high school classmates as an adult. How small is the town you work or live in? I don't think I've even talked to anyone I went to high school with in at least a dozen years. Yeah, that's the thing with it is it wasn't even the town that I grew up in that I was working in, and I still work with exclusively people I went to high school with because it was a weird fucking work environment that like I got the job because I used to live in an apartment building, and the person across the hall from me was a girl that I knew from high school. Weren't great friends. We were kind of friends, but I wouldn't consider us like good, close buddies or anything. And then she was like, "Hey, I have a friend who started this business looking for somebody to work there. You want to fucking take the job?" So I took the job, and I didn't know anybody there when I took the job because I was the only employee. And then eventually that girl that I knew that got me the job started working there and then started filling the place with exclusively people we went to high school with. And it became so fucking bizarre because literally almost every day it was, "Hey, remember this guy from high school?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do, but I'm also in my 30s and I don't care. I've lived a whole fucking adult life, dude. And you still what? Just hung out with the people that you went to math class with?" It is kind of weird. I'm right there with you, man. I'm not a big person that hangs on to the relationships I had in high school. I grew up a lot since I was 16 years old. My life has changed a lot since I was a teenager in high school, and I am not even remotely the same person. I don't have the same kind of interests. And literally, the only person that I talk to on a regular basis that I went to high school with is my wife. And that's not even a high school sweetheart type of scenario. We reconnected as adults outside of school, and she wasn't even living in our hometown that we grew up in. So I don't know. And then this one that you sent me, normally I would ignore these because I don't like talking shit on people, and I don't know what your motive. Well, I do know what your motive is because of how you tagged it. But you did ask me about a fellow stand-up comic. Have you ever met, worked with, or seen the comic Artie Fletcher live? He sucks. I hope I read that correctly. Suuhuhucks. Sucks, right? I have met Artie Fletcher. And here's the thing about I'm not going to comment on his stand-up. If you've seen his stand-up, you know what kind of act he does. It's very much the same kind of jokes you hear people tell you in bars. But I did meet Artie Fletcher before, and it was hilarious because he really only wanted to talk to me about his credits. Like, yeah, HBO is talking to me about and fucking NBC. We're gonna try to get them to do a bidding war on the sitcom. Like, just basically wanting to build, and that's a big problem in stand-up comedy is a lot of comics will like brag to other comics like they should be jealous. Where it's like, yeah, man, I got an HBO pilot. And it's like, cool. I don't know why you're rubbing that in my face. I've never even pursued trying to get an HBO pilot. It's never been in my goal list. So I don't know why you're like rubbing that shit in. But yeah, the funny thing is that reminds me of a weird story because he performed at the showcase night. Like he hosted the showcase night before the weekend that he was scheduled to perform at the club. He was featuring that weekend for, I don't remember, some other like club hack, but he was doing the hosting, and he was talking to me and a couple other comics beforehand, and then he said to me, "Hey, I'm going to do some riffing tonight and some crowd work. So if I say anything funny, can you write it down for me?" And I was like, "No. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm not going to write down anything." And I straight up said, like, "Dude, I'm not going to write anything down for you. I'm going to like work on my own shit before I go up there and perform." And then he ended up saying something about how something will have you shitting like Mr. Spock. And then afterwards was like, "Hey, did you write down that fucking Mr. Spock thing that I told you about?" I'm like, "What? No. No, and why was that funny? Shitting like Mr. Spock? I don't understand." But yes, that's my Artie Fletcher story. I have met him, and normally I wouldn't comment on this. I ignore stuff all the time that you guys send me about. Have you met this guy? Do you know Chad Zumach. Yes, I know a lot of these dudes that were club comics. And yeah, Artie, that's my Artie Fletcher story. He was a weird, ego-driven dude who got mad at me for not writing down a joke for him, even though I told him I wasn't going to. Denise says to me, "What is the fascination with cults? I like your episodes about them. They are funny and creepy and all, but I've never taken an interest in cults before. What's the fascination?" It's because it's such an obvious grift. I think that's why it's so fascinating to me. Like, it's really obviously somebody's trying to manipulate you, somebody's trying to lie to you. And to me, the interesting thing is at what end? Like, because like I've said before, there are all kinds of different cults, but they always boil down to, what am I manipulating you for? It's either for money, it's either for power, or it's for pussy. And that's pretty much all it is. It's either give me all of your money, let me fuck your wives and all of the hot women that are in this cult, or do my weird evil bidding for me, like do some terrorism, kill yourself. That's why Heaven's Gate was super fascinating to me, because they all killed oh, sorry, I got to keep this advertiser friendly. They all unalived themselves. They made themselves all unalived. Ugh. It's so childish to hear somebody talk like that. But yeah, that's the fascination with cults. Dave asking me the deep questions. Do you consider yourself a good dad? How do you plan on handling parenting when your kid is a teenager and maybe starts experimenting with things like drugs? Are you going to be the cool dad who lets his kid drink and smoke as long as they stay at home? So this is like the anti-weed thing. Like, I learned it from watching you. I think it's douchey to call yourself a good dad. It's like calling yourself a good person or something. Like, I don't feel like that's up to you to decide. But if I had to step outside of myself, I'd say, yeah, I would think that I'm a pretty good father. I put in a lot of effort. I'm very involved in my son's life. I do a lot with him, and I do consider myself a good dad. That thing, what am I going to do when he's a teenager and wants to start smoking weed and shit? I will certainly burn that bridge when I get there. I don't really want to think about it too heavily, but no, I'm not going to be if you're going to party, do it at my house. No, I'm not going to be cool dad like that. I'm your fucking dad. I'm not your friend. I'm not going to smoke weed with you. I'm not going to fucking let you smoke weed in my house. But I don't really know what I would do if I found out that my son was smoking weed as a teenager. It'd be a really weird lecture to have, right? Don't do this, even though I did it, and continue to do it. I don't know. I don't expose my son to it though. Anytime I ever smoke some weed is always far removed from hanging out with him. It's after he lays down to go to bed or something like that, or he's at his grandmother's for a while. But yeah, I don't know. A good dad, I would say yes. I have no idea what I'm going to do when he wants to start drinking and smoking weed underage. No idea, but that's a great question. Jay says, is there anything actually wrong with role-playing all day and just pretending to be a fictional character? I mean, whatever gets you through the day. So, I don't understand. Are you offended that I made fun of the Final Fantasy VII cult? Because I can tell you the reason why they're worthy of being made fun of. What is wrong with role-playing all day? I can absolutely explain it to you. That's because those Final Fantasy VII cult members were pretending, they weren't even pretending, they were claiming to be the actual characters, that they soul bonded with Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. You know why we love the characters of our video games, and in this case of Final Fantasy VII? It's because we see a little bit of our personality in them, and then they also go on these epic fantasy adventures. And these motherfuckers that were claiming to have soul bonded with Final Fantasy VII characters were not going on epic adventures. That's why I was making fun of the fact that, yeah, you're epic Zack from the video game. Now pay my bills. Go buy groceries like Zack did in the video game. It's an obvious grift. That's why it's worthy of shaming those people. I don't know if you're sticking up for them, but it seems like you are. But it's like, let's say if I claim that I soul bonded with Michael Jordan, right? And then you're like, oh, so you play basketball? No, I don't. Not at all. Then how are you making that claim? Bro, you're not going out on these fantasy adventures. You're not riding giant chickens. You're not casting real magic. You're not carrying around a giant fucking sword and fighting off monsters. You're just smelling like shit sitting in your own apartment asking people to pay your bills. So you're worthy of being shamed. I'm sorry. Jason, on the same token, wants to talk to me about the Final Fantasy VII cult. He says to me, so you're telling me that all those times I played Power Rangers as a kid with my cousins, I was just training to start my own cult? That's amazing. If you're interested, I'll let you be the White Ranger, but I'm always Jason. Jason was the red one, right? From the original? I remember him. I think I've seen him at a Comic-Con before. I recently saw the Black Ranger at Indie PopCon. I got to see the Black Ranger from Power Rangers, the original Power Rangers series. But yeah, fuck yeah, I'll join your Power Rangers cult. I get to be the white one? Can I start out as the green one and then be the white one? Because I still want that the weird dagger that was also a flute. You remember that from Power Rangers? Doo 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 doo. And then the dragon would come out of the sea, which they're metal. It's made out of metal and it comes from the sea. That thing would be rusted like fuck with all that salt water and shit. Yeah, I want to be part of your Power Ranger cult. If there's a Power Ranger cult out there, by all means, someone please let me know about it. I'm looking for my next one to review on here. I have a couple of ideas. I might get into one of the more mainstream ones again, just to, it's fun. The ones that have audio that I can react to are a lot more fun. Okay, so Sammy, again, I really struck a chord with the Final Fantasy VII episode. You guys loved that one. Sammy says, let's travel to Nuttyville. What character do you think you could soul bond with? I'm for freaking sure Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but gay. Buffy was kind of gay, wasn't she? She was at least a little bit gay. No, because she banged that blonde dude and the guy that was in Bones, David Boreanaz. Is it Borealis or Boreanaz? I don't remember. I'm not that big of a nerd. Yeah, okay. I think I'd be Roger Rabbit. I think I could soul bond with Roger Rabbit because much like Roger Rabbit, I am a silly fucker. I like to think that sometimes laughter is all you have. And I'm also with a woman who's way hotter than I should be able to get. And it's because of my sense of humor. I don't make any fucking bones about that. I know I'm not the greatest looking guy in the world. She tells me I'm handsome. I don't believe her. I think it's just because I can keep her laughing. So whatever. We play patty cake all the time. So she also says here, as a straight guy, what is something that you find annoying about straight guys? I think it would be, there's something that I've noticed with, oh, and I still notice it too, with like every fucking straight dude that you'll ever hang out with. They always want to comment that a female celebrity is hot. Like you'll see a woman who literally you could be watching the Victoria's Secret supermodel like runway show and you'd be watching that with a straight dude and they would go, "Yeah, she's hot." Yeah, no fucking shit. Like, yeah. Like, you watch TV with a dude, wow, she's hot. Like, dude, she's a fucking actress. She better be. That's part of a prerequisite. So, yeah, I've never understood, why dudes would constantly comment that a woman who's a celebrity is hot. Because, yeah, obviously. Yes, Megan Fox from Transformers. They weren't going to cast an ugly woman in Transformers. That just wasn't going to happen. So why do we need to comment that a famous woman is hot? Yeah, okay. That kind of comes with the territory. Jeff wants to know, did you ever hit up Rotten or Ogrish back in the early internet days? Hidden Darkness indeed. Yeah, talk about Hidden Darkness. Of course, dude. I can't tolerate that stuff anymore. I can't even tolerate, watching somebody take, a needle into their skin. Like if they show somebody getting a shot on TV, I get a little bit squeamish. But yeah, back in high school days, we used to watch beheading videos, R. Bud Dwyer shooting himself in the head, all kinds of shit. And it's just that stuff does stick with you for several days still, even as a kid. But it was just I could have eaten a sandwich while watching a beheading video at some point, and now it's like, oh my god, the guy's nose is bleeding, gross, I can't see it. You know, like I don't know, man, but yeah, hidden. I do. I remember Rotten and Ogrish. They gotta still be sites, right? Those still have to exist. I ain't gonna be googling right now. I don't have the capacity to be doing any googling, but I'm sure Rotten or Ogrish have to exist in some sort of capacity, even if it's a social media account. Would you take a job on regular radio if you were offered? If I were offered, yeah, sure I would. I'm not pursuing one again, so to go back to the Artie Fletcher, HBO's calling me, which he never got an HBO show, so they passed. They passed on your bitch ass. But yeah, I would. I've actually even thought about trying to cut something together to send to radio stations around because I would actually like to. I would love to do maybe an overnight shift or something like that, some sort of late night shift, like something where I can still be weird, still talk about weird stuff, have weird callers, and I can play music without people going, now you got to give Scott Stapp money. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I definitely would. I mean, radio is pretty lame now, and I think it would probably end up being a failure because of all of the rules and regulations and the different ways that they kind of, cut you off at the knees when you're trying to be funny on the radio. There's a lot of FCC shit now that you just can't do. Let's see. Tyler says, "What was your favorite job you ever had? I mean that as an hourly job. Not something cool like stand-up. Your favorite regular dude job." It was Blockbuster. Blockbuster, I still maintain Blockbuster was the best job that I ever had. And if it paid actual adult money, I would have never gave that fucking job up. If I could have worked at Blockbuster Video and made like 80 a year, like 80K a year, that would have been amazing. Because it really was. Like, there wasn't anything better than that job. They gave you free movies before they even came out. You got to watch all of the movies like 2 or 3 weeks before they were released. You just talked to people about movies all the time. Eventually, you met all of the cool customers that had all the same taste in movies as you. And at one point, I worked at a Blockbuster in Santa Barbara where you got to see like celebrities and stuff that would come in and rent movies, which was kind of cool. Jerry Bruckheimer used to come into my fucking Blockbuster that I worked at a lot. So yeah, absolutely. I even better than stand up. I'll be completely honest with you, because stand up you had to tour and travel, and I didn't like doing that. I don't like sleeping in hotel rooms, so that part was always hell for me. Like, oh yeah, I guess I could do this thing, and I always liked having the stand up gigs that were just a few states away, and like even if it was like a 5-hour drive, I would just come back home after the gig because like it's as pointless as fucking staying in a hotel room anyways, because I'm not sleeping in it, so whatever. I just went back and watched both of CM Punk's UFC fights. How embarrassing. Yeah, they were pretty bad, weren't they? I remember when CM Punk got signed to the UFC and thinking, this is going to be interesting because I know that he trains with the Gracies and he's got a professional wrestling background, but like, how's this guy going to fare in an actual like real fight? And it was how everyone predicted. He got fucking destroyed because he was a white belt in jiu-jitsu and a pro wrestler, no legitimate fighting background at all, and he got lit the fuck up. And then in his second one, they put him up against a guy who notoriously sucked, and he got lit the fuck up again, just completely dominated. And it was the first time in my life, because I've done martial arts my whole life. I've done boxing, I've done jiu-jitsu, I've done wrestling, I've done judo, all at different points in my life, because it was my favorite way to work out was to, fight people for fun. Consensually fight people for fun was my favorite way of working out and staying in shape. And it was the very first time ever that I was like, if somebody would ask me, do you think you could beat up a UFC fighter? I would say, that's absolutely ridiculous. Of course not. But I could totally take CM Punk in a real fight. In an MMA fight, I could absolutely beat CM Punk. Of course I could. Let's line it up. Somebody fucking get the word out. I'll fight that fucking overgrown, overcoddled man baby. I saw the fucking behind the scenes WWE unscripted or whatever the fuck it's called that they did on Netflix behind the scenes. That dude is the pussiest bitch I've ever seen in my life. CM Punk You're a bitch pussy. This one comes from YouTube, and I have said this a few times before. If you find me on YouTube, pretty please, instead of following me on YouTube, follow me on one of your podcast platforms or like Amazon Music or something like that. Because YouTube, I'm pretty sure I get credited for one download just because I upload my podcast to YouTube. And then I only do it because it goes there automatically. It's super easy and it can funnel in some people. So, I don't really have much of a YouTube mindset. I don't really care about the video element. I'm not looking to fucking manipulate algorithms or deal with the constant demonetization because I said, oh my God, he said rape instead of grape. Take that guy's money away and give it to the guy from Creed. So this one comes from my Michael Ray Bauer episode. I know I'm fucking tired of talking about the guy. But this dude says, you're not terrible at this. You got to do video though, or it's never going to work. This is CB33 on YouTube. And I am not about to talk shit on this guy because I appreciate him taking the time to listen. I've avoided YouTube videos because it's a whole other thing that I don't want to learn. I don't like doing, like, I see the OBS system or the OSB or OBS, whatever the fuck it is. I've learned how to use it. It's very similar to things that I've learned before. I know how to use a TriCaster, so I know how to use that kind of stuff, but it's also like, I don't give a fuck about showing my face on anything. I don't care about being like, hey guys, look at me. I don't care about anything like that. I just, again, that's an RSS feed that goes straight to there. And I don't know, the whole comment like the whole, like, you're not terrible at this, where it's like a somewhat compliment, even though it's like a backhanded compliment almost. Like, oh, you're not a piece of shit. Like, oh, thanks. It's that, because, that's something dudes do. We as dudes have a hard time telling another dude that he's dope as fuck or something along those lines. But like, I don't know, it always reminded me of like the times in stand-up where you would meet so many people after doing a half an hour of comedy and getting paid to do so and making people laugh. You would meet a shitload of people afterwards that were like, man, yeah, that was really good, man. Hey, I hope you make it. Like, I thought that I did. I thought I did because I just got paid to do stand-up comedy for you, and my goal was to get paid to do stand-up comedy, so I thought I did make it. What? So I don't know. It's like everybody has this standard of success for people in entertainment that they think that everyone should reach, and my goal is pretty simple. I just want to do a podcast that generates a little bit of extra income and makes it worth my half an hour every couple of days that I do it. I'm not looking to get a whole lot of money. I know that my podcast isn't going to bring me in a couple $100,000 a year. I don't care about that, but hey, fucking $1,000 a month, something like that. That'd be great. That would be wonderful. I would appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, it is a weird attitude to deal with some of the people of like, yeah, man, hey, maybe one day you'll get a sitcom. And it's like, why would I get a sitcom? I would hear that all the time too. Like, yeah, hey, maybe you could host the Tonight Show one day. I don't, that's not a goal. That's not a goal that I have. I don't understand what you guys want from me. You want me to be a character on a sitcom? Then I'm not a comic anymore. I'm an actor. You want me to write scripts and stuff? Which I like doing. I like writing a lot, but it's also, my goal is to write something. And if I wrote it, then I accomplish my goal. It's not, I don't know, man. You guys have a weird way of gauging success for creative people. And that's going to be it for me for this episode of FAQ, Feedback and Questions. Fuck you, buddy. I am Jay Kraft, your great American scumbag, and if you want to be featured in a future FAQ episode, be sure to send me an email, UniverseOfWeirdos@gmail.com. I am also on X, JCraft247, Instagram, Universe of Weirdos. I do not appear to be active on either of those social medias, but I do get notifications if anybody interacts with me, I just don't ever post anything on there. Except for on Instagram, I post an AI image that I generate to announce every episode that I post. So I don't expect people to follow me on there. I wouldn't follow my account on Instagram either. It's just like, all you do is just say new podcast and I'm already subscribed. So what's the point of following this? I don't know. I just don't like the social media, honestly. And I don't even like the Facebook either, where everybody that's my friend on there are people that I actually know. I don't even like that because everybody just tries to argue with you all the time. It's fucking ridiculous. I'd rather do this podcast as my form of social media. Hey guys, this is how I plan on expressing myself. I don't need to post a fucking status, do I? Jeez. But if you want to give me a nice rating or review on whatever podcast platform you rate and review podcasts on, I would certainly appreciate that. It means a lot to me. It actually does really help out if you write a positive review, give it a 5 stars or a thumbs up. If you hit share within the app and then post it on your social medias, that helps. Downloading directly instead of streaming also helps. Be on the lookout for some merch coming soon because, yeah, just like Donkey Lips, I'm going to start hawking myself to you all the time. Give me all of your money. I need it, or otherwise I'm going to die. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to be that desperate. I'm just going to give you options to support if you would like to support. I ain't going to beg you for it because I'm giving you a podcast anyways. My goal is not to get your fucking merchandise grift money. My goal is to entertain you because it's what I'm good at and it's what I like doing. I like making people laugh. And that is going to be it for me. I will see you very soon with a plethora of more weird and wacky subjects that you can send me your feedback and questions for. And until then, I am blasting off. See ya!